Recently, a friend of a friend gave me 4 bottles of fragrance, and I use the term fragrance loosely here. And I say a friend of a friend because no friend of mine would be caught dead with these. That is, if I had any. Clones! We all know them, and there is a point to them existing. They try their best to copy the more expensive fragrance so that the people who want to smell like that, but can't afford it, can. And sometimes they end up doing more justice than the original. Millesina Imperial. Excuse me, I got something in my throat. So, in the world of fragrance, there exists a hierarchy, and it goes like this. The original from a designer, niche, or indie house. Now, these usually have a named perfumer or one of the big fragrance companies like IFF or Firmenich or something like that. And in the second level, we have something else. Now, if the original was a sales success, we'll get similarly smelling fragrances from other equivalent houses, like other designer houses that have a twist on the original's DNA. Now, these aren't trying to copy the original, they're just trying to capture the vibe of the original. Next, on the next level, you'll get the clones, who are actually trying their very best to copy the original. Clones generally go for the high-end sales success fragrances because that's the whole point of them, that you as a customer get a sometimes very similarly smelling scent for a fraction of the price. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that that's the end. But there's one more level in this hierarchy. And while these don't have a specific name, because they have many, I'm just going to call them copycat fragrances. These copycat fragrances often have a similar theme and naming to the original. They purport to be inspired by the original fragrance so that you know what it's supposed to smell like. And unlike the clones, which may actually cost around the price of a cheap designer scent, these copycats are usually so cheap they make the clones look like high-end niche fragrances. Let me tell you a story. When I was a kid, I once bought this inspired by Calvin Klein's obsession from Target for $5 because I didn't have the money to buy the real thing, which I loved. This was in 1993 when there was no access to discounters and the only choice I had was to buy at regular retail from a department store. These days, there are so many amazing and yet affordable scents out there, so many online discounters giving you anything you need at amazing prices. We're really spoiled for choice, so I don't see how these copycat products still exist. And I only bought this copycat fragrance once because it smelled like a cheap distant cousin of the original. But every time I wore it, it made me feel like shit. And it made me feel worse when I could smell the real thing on other people. And I never wanted to do that to myself ever again. I deserved the best. Now, the chap who bought these got duped by these dupes. He thought that he could simply replace his designer fragrance with this. And because it was so cheap, he blind bought them all, only to give them one wearing, learning quickly that this was not an option, and sent these bottles my way for review. I have tested each one of these 4 fragrances, and I use the term fragrance loosely here, and my review is that they're utter shite. Now, I'm not a niche snob. Even a cursory glance through my past videos will show you how I respect and am grateful for cheapies. Hidden cheap gems, clones even. I've been through 5 bottles of Club de Nuit Intense Man over the years. I really did like that when it came out. Now, I'm also not trying to knock the businesses who are trying to make some coin and employ some people. Companies are free to make whatever products they think will sell. I'm knocking anyone who's buying these. Why? I can't think of any reason why anyone would spend actual money here. There's toilet sprays that smell better than these, and they're cheaper too. So if it's about money, then just buy the toilet spray. I'm serious, my toilet spray smells amazing, and it's less than half the price of these copycat fragrances. Okay. So if toilet sprays aren't your thing because, you have dignity or something like that, highly unlikely, then why not just buy a deodorant at a quarter of the price? You'd not only smell nicer, you'd also have a practical application in keeping your sweat under control. And if you don't have money for deodorant, why are you on YouTube? Go make some coin, bro. Now, to those of you who simply buy these things to mask your BO, have you considered bathing regularly? I hear it's all the rage these days for the human species. And to those of you who actually think these copycats smell like the original, they don't. They just don't. But if you think they do and you're happy with them, then please don't let me tell you what to do. I mean, what the hell would I know anyway? And even if the smell is acceptable, the lack of any longevity means you'll be burning through these things so quickly that in the time you would have used up 1 bottle of the real thing and knowing that you smell good, you would have gone through maybe like 4 or 5 of these, knowing you smell like the olfactory equivalent of Stevie Wonder's version of the Mona Lisa. And I'm being generous here. These aren't even good value. Do you hate yourself that much to put yourself through this? Don't answer that. Okay, so the first one that I got was this. The first one that I didn't get, that I received, well, I guess that was in these bundle of 4, is this one here, which is called Bleu Pour Homme. And this is the copy of Bleu de Chanel. Smells nothing like it. I do have a few samples of Bleu de Chanel in various concentrations, just to remind me of what they smell like. I did spray it on the other night. I had the eau de parfum, and this smells closest to the eau de parfum because it smells like an ambery thing more than anything else. I had to spray about 45 sprays of this on this forearm over here and just give it a good old test. It really didn't last the test of time against the real thing. As I mentioned, longevity is not that great. Neither is the dimension to the scent. The next one that is in this is called G Aqua. Wow, G, I wonder what this is trying to be a copy of. It's Acqua di Gio. Wow, amazing. And this actually kind of smells similar, but then it just turns into like this salty, sagey, herbal sort of thing, which I don't recall. I don't recall that much salt in the original Acqua di Gio. I do have an original Acqua di Gio, not what's out there in the market, but an original formulation, and it does not smell like this. When it dries down, at least. The next one is called The Lab NYC, and this is, if you didn't recognize it, is the copy of Le Labo's Santal 33, and it smells just as disgusting as the real thing. So I think they got this one bang on. And this last one is their own proprietary batch of something, which they call In Your Element. And what is going on here? Is this sticker coming off? It is too. Well, there you go. This is reminiscent of something I used to do back when I used to make my own CDs and print out the sticker that goes on the front of the CD. On my sort of bubble jet printer at home. Yeah. Now, to the companies who make these things, can you either do better or just stop? Mike?
Stop it. Get some help.
Thank you. Think of the environmental impacts. Landfill doesn't need more useless junk filling it up. The only people I'd be okay giving these to would be people I hate, but I don't hate anyone because My time is too valuable for that shit. And to the people that say, I know, Raf, I know these are subpar. They're not what I really want. That I'm settling for fourth best out of 4, which makes it the first worst. But I still buy it because it's better than nothing. To you, I say this. You are nothing but the collection of stories you tell yourself, resulting from the experiences you've collected throughout your life. If you tell yourself that you're an energetic go-getter, then that's what you are. If you tell yourself that you're a deep thinker who prefers to be alone, then that's what you are. If you tell yourself that you're a cool motherfucker who's into fragrances and philosophy, then that's what you are. If you tell yourself that fourth best will do because it's better than nothing, then you're telling yourself that you don't deserve any better. And you probably don't.